Hello and welcome to Tête-à-tête with Tiwa. I'm Tineke.
That's a Tiwa again. I'm Wally. This is Tiwa, by the way.
Hello and welcome to Tête-à-tête with Tiwa. I'm Tineke.
And I'm Wally.
That's good, yeah?
Yeah,
Got it.
good.
I don't know, I'm just British. I can't help myself. Today we are going to be talking, we did, if I think it was our very first episode, we spoke about keeping the love alive or keeping the spark alive. And the feedback that we got from that show was that we didn't give enough like practical examples of how we keep the love alive. So we're going to do that today. Obviously, we've been married for 24 years. Is that correct, darling?
Okay, in a few months.
Ooh, well done. We've been married for 24 years and a few months. What?
Well done. What? Like I'd forget.
You know, there's a rumor.
Yes.
Maybe rumor is the wrong word. There's a lot of men forget.
Probably rumor as well.
I know you don't, usually. No, I don't think you've ever forgotten.
Of course.
But how would you when you're married to such? No comments? No comments. Oh my gosh. Okay, so practical ways to keep the love alive. What do we do practically? As in, what practical steps do we take? I mean, I know what I do, but I don't even know if it's to keep the love alive, but I know the things that I do. I think for me, I was very intentional about the fact that Wale married me. And so I didn't want, I mean, I knew that I would grow, you just do, everybody does, but I didn't want to change. I wanted the essence of who I was to be the same. So I was very careful not to. Sorry?
No, go on, go on. Well, no, I'm following you. I was a bit lost when you started.
Oh, okay.
I've caught up.
Okay. So I was very careful not to become who I wasn't. One of the things that I was also very aware of was that, or I am very aware of, is that men are visual beings. I always say that, the way he met you, become a better version of yourself. Yes, absolutely. But don't lose the core of who you are. Now, one of the things that Wale loves, if I ask Wale what is his favorite hairstyle that I have, he loves different hairstyles that I do, but he loves me in braids. Wale met me in braids. So I don't know if that's why you love me in braids.
I wonder. Who knows?
But he just loves, whenever I have braids in, Wale, he just loves me in braids. So whilst I love...
This is not to say I don't love you without braids, by the way.
No, I said that at the beginning.
Yeah, I just thought I'd clarify it myself. Yeah.
So while I mean, and I like braids as well, so it's not a big deal. But what I mean is, I'm so aware of the fact that that is his. I was going to say his hairstyle of preference, but I don't even think it's that. But I know he likes that, so I do braids.
That's not a preference.
Not that you ever think, oh, I prefer this hairstyle, but so I bear that in mind. I know that men are visual, so I make sure that I look good all the time. And I used to, at the beginning of the marriage, I don't know if
it is actually my hairstyle of preference.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I said it. Yeah, hairstyle of preference. So apologies, no braids today, but I'll have them put in soon. No. So at the beginning of the marriage, I don't know if you remember this, there'll be times when I will be going out or whatever, I'll dress up, and when I dress up, I'll be like, is this Akimbolomo enough for you? So I will you remember? So basically what I was trying to do then was say, I know that, I'm now your wife, and I need to be sure that how I'm presenting myself represents how you would like me to present myself. And I'm going to put a caveat or whatever on that, because it's not about him controlling what I wear. It's not about him saying you can only wear this. It's not that at all. So I just wanted to put that there, because I think there's a fine line. Sometimes, I know people who will only wear the clothes, like their husband dresses them. There's nothing necessarily wrong with that, but one has to just be a bit careful that it isn't a controlling. That's what I think anyway. So when I put myself together, it's like, it's not, I mean, I don't do it so much now anymore, because I now know what is Akimbolomo enough. But at the beginning of the marriage, I was like, I wanted to be sure that he was happy with the way I was representing him. And I always say that when you get married, don't forget, because there were a lot of people that I saw get married and just become slobs. and then they would now be worried, concerned that their husband wasn't attracted to them anymore or whatever. I think there's, and I'm not saying that I'm not condoning any man that because his wife has let herself go is now out cheating on her. I'm not condoning that. But what I'm saying is that you can't change anybody else. You can only change yourself. So if you know that your sluggish behavior, if you saw, I mean, even in pregnancy, your body changes. It has to. But how are you presenting yourself in a manner that is attractive to the best of your ability in that situation that you're in? So obviously, yes, you probably can't wear heels anymore, but play around with your accessories, do something, just make yourself look good. That's what I say. Now, it's not all about looks. I'm not, I'm just saying that one of the things that I was very intentional about was to make sure that the woman that he saw and was attracted to physically did not go. And because I know that men are visual, I focused on the physical quite a bit. But that's not to say that I didn't focus on anything else, because I think there's a tendency to be and I think it goes both ways for men and women. There's a tendency that when you get married and you're like, well, I'm married now, and then you stop. And I think that's a very bad thing. I personally think that's a very bad thing. What's your take on that?
Yeah. So, no, I was just thinking, the physical appearance, like you said, can change and many times will change. But it's the spirit behind the appearance. When I say the spirit, I mean I'm talking attitude. So that's what you have to keep, I think. It's the attitude, so what am I saying?
Please explain.
One might have developed a distending belly in the course of life, but you're not going to start walking around like a rolling duck. you still have the attitude of an Adonis, even with your distended stomach. Do you know what I mean? When I say attitude, I mean, you're not walking around sloppily, that sort of thing. Dragging your feet. Regardless of what your physical appearance is, there's got to be an attitude behind it that is, I don't know. I think for instance, men like confidence. Yeah.
Well, in women.
Yeah. Men like confidence. Men like a confident woman. Well, sorry. Okay, maybe not. Sorry, I can't speak for men. I'm speaking for myself. A confident woman. So a woman who believes in herself, and you see that. I think it manifests a lot of the time. It's physically as well. You can see it, and I'm talking about this sloppy slipper dragging, feet dragging around the place sort of attitude, which I call, big madame kind of, I can't be bothered to walk properly because I'm just, yeah, that sort of thing. So yeah, so don't let yourself go is what I'm saying. Anyhow, what did I do?
What did you do, darling?
Okay, so part of, you know what? Even acknowledging those things that you've done, I think are part of these things that we're talking about, keeping the love alive. I've always, correct me if I'm wrong, but I've always continued to tell you how beautiful I think you're looking, or how attracted I am to you, how sexy I still find you, and so on and so forth. That's something I've never stopped doing.
No, you haven't stopped doing that.
Maybe because I haven't stopped finding you attractive. Who does? But no, seriously.
Sweet.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, I'm messing about. Yeah, but you know what I mean.
Oh, my life.
The point is not to take the other person for granted. Do you understand what I mean? You because we've been married for so long, you can just relax and think, well, shoot. But she knows now. She's fine now. But I think it's necessary to continue to tell the person how you feel.
Talked about the physical appearance, but that's literally just one.
Yeah, so that's one. So there's that, and I spoke of also the attitude. This is very important. When I said it's the spirit behind it, that's also something. Um, um, it's an attitude. It's you're alive. You're you know. Of course, we go through stuff from time to time. Where your spirit is low, and things are challenging and so on and so forth. So even your best is not going to shine at that time. Um, of course, it's your partner's job to actually try and prop you up at that time, or give you the space, or enable you to come back one way or the other, whichever way it is that applies to you, because it's going to apply to different people differently, and it's your partner's job to work on that. But what I'm saying is, so I'm not just addressing physical here. I'm actually addressing also. It's almost talking to the spiritual as well, i.e., the inner person, encouraging the inner person, and which is why I said these are part of the things that I'm acknowledging when I'm acknowledging you. It's not just the physical aspects of you, but your spirit as well. When I'm telling you these things, when I'm reaffirming these things, at that point in time, you're not thinking about how I'm looking at you physically.
So I think, okay, so I think, so we've touched on two things. So one is the way we present ourselves and take care of ourselves. That's a practical way that we keep the love alive. Second is the way we speak to each other, address each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a practical way of keeping the love alive.
Right.
There's not, I mean, I don't know. I say this all the time, that you need to respect everybody as human beings. There is never a time in our relationship where, I mean, you've probably heard me call him a twit many a time on this.
Oh.
on this thing, but we
Foul language.
I was just about to say there's no foul language. I was just about to say that there's never degrading. No. I think maybe that's a degrading foul language. I mean, I do call him a twit plenty of time, and I can't even deny it because it's on camera, left, right, and center. But I'm trying to think, what does, and he does have some words for me, but
scallywag. What does it mean? I really don't know, but yeah.
But the idea being that we respect ourselves. This is not even as husband and wife. This is just on a human level. I think there is a standard that you can't speak to anybody in a certain way. If you're, just as a fellow human being, but certainly because we're now more than just humans. This is now a relationship. So there's, I mean, I cannot imagine that Wale would speak to me, call me some words that I've heard people. I mean, anyway. Yeah. So I think that's
that's important as well.
It's really important, because I hear some things that some people call each other, and I don't know.
But those are not ways to keep the love alive.
No. So I just said, because I said the way we speak to each other. Yeah. Another thing that we are quite good at doing, although we've had. I mean, I remember during this lockdown there was a particular thing happening every evening at, I can't remember what time it was. I think it was 11 p.m. and one of my friends had told me about it, and so like on day 3 or something, she was like, "Aren't you going to join?" And I was like, "No, that time is actually the time when I have my date with Wale." And obviously we weren't doing anything. When I say date, we weren't doing anything, but that was the time, because of how busy my life in particular was at that time. What would happen was, we knew that by 10 p.m. I'm done. So from 10 p.m. I have Wale's time, and we would probably be sitting together reading a book, him reading his book, I'm reading my book, or we might be talking, or we might be, but it was like a time when it was like, okay, I'm done with everybody else, and now this is your time. So it's almost like setting time aside for each other. One of the other things, if Wale is cooking, I tend to try and hang around the kitchen. He does the same to me, actually, if he's around, so we kind of, it's not like, oh, Tinka is cooking, let her cook, unless of course he's busy with something else and vice versa. Generally, if one of us is cooking, the other one is there, criticizing the cooking.
Hey, do you don't you think that's a bit too much of that? Madam, who's cooking? Is it you or is it me?
Oh my life.
Oh, is that how you do? Oh, is that how you do that?
You know what's so funny?
Yes,
Wally makes
that's how
some
I do
amazing food, but when I watch him make it, I'm like, yeah. So it turns out really nice. It's nice, but if
It really turns out
no,
really
so
nice.
it is really nice, but the way he gets there is just not a way that
You would.
I would, and that I even understand. So yeah, so sometimes I'm questioning like, oh, so okay, because I mean, and let's be fair, Wally, you have not been cooking for the entire
And
marriage, so this is a
new,
relatively new stage.
I'll let that pass. Yes, as we were saying.
So again, depending on it's that thing of making time for yourself. So like I specifically refer to lockdown because that's what we've just come out of. But prior to that, we would try and do coffee, even if it's just we're going to Costa for coffee. 20 minutes, it doesn't matter. We continue to date ourselves. I guess that's what it is. We continue to date ourselves. We haven't been to the cinema in forever, but that's the sort of thing we'll do. Cinema, theater, just go out and date ourselves. So that's a practical thing that we do.
Or even just go and get fish and chips and eat in the car.
Yeah. It's just like carving out time for ourselves together because once you get married, so many other things take over, and especially when you have children, you're working. It's like it's you have to be intentional, I think, about how you set time aside for each other, and it's not always going to happen, and you have phases when it's not going to happen, like if you're a new parent or whatever, sometimes it's not going to happen, but I think we always have to have at the back of our minds
that it should happen,
so that even if it doesn't happen in that period, when the time is possible, it will happen. So I think what else do we do to keep our love alive practically?
Physical appreciation.
What the flip is that? Sex?
No. Physical appreciation. How did that become sex?
I don't know what physical appreciation is.
Well, maybe
Oh, smacking my bum.
that sort of thing.
Wally does that.
All right. And what it is listen, the day I stop smacking your bum,
I should be
you should
concerned.
be concerned because that means I'm not looking at it anymore. I mean, this is not for everybody. Some people are not as brash as I am. Wait, by the way, when I say smacking, it's don't look and enjoy your wife. Oh.
No, what it is I will walk past and he'll just tap my bum as I walk past. It's not smack. Smack is probably a bit tough a word.
For somebody that say was that bloke. Yeah, that sort of thing, and that for me, it's different ways of showing. So and that's not just the only way, not just the smacking of the bum or patting of the bum, or there's also the stealing hugs here, and playing with the hair there. The different things that you do to show that physically you're still, you're still together physically as well. I think that's important. Yeah, I do.
I don't know if we've actually fully dealt with this. I think we have. I mean, so basically, I guess the answer to this is that we're intentional. I think that's the answer to it. So we do. So even like now, we've been playing badminton together. It's just another 1 hour every day that we hang out together. So
we're not going to talk about scores or anything. Yeah, who's winning, who's not. That's all.
I don't think you would want to, being as you're
ouch.
losing. So Wale is so competitive. Anyway, that's for another story for another day. So yeah, so I think it's really about being intentional about carving out time within what time you have to do stuff. And I think it's so key. And one of the things that I did when I was a new mum and I was struggling to maintain the things that I wanted to do because obviously this child had come into my life and taken over my life. I started to connect things with things I had to do. So, for example, I knew I had to change my baby's nappy. I knew that I had to breastfeed my baby. I knew that I had to put the, there were certain things that I had to do for the baby. I had no choice. I had to do them. And so I connected them to things that I wanted to be doing. So, till today, and I don't know if you know this, Wally, actually. So, one of the things that I did, I found that when I became a new mother, my prayer life wasn't as I wanted it to be. So what I did was I was like, okay, I have to breastfeed this child. Every time the child latches onto my breast, I will start praying. And I did that for all of my kids. So, but what happened, which is interesting, is so anytime I'm preparing food for my kids, that's what I'm doing. I'm praying because I've connected prayer to feeding.
Interesting.
And I did that because it was out of a need for, because I was like, oh my gosh, how, so like when I was changing the nappy, that's when I would do something else that I wanted to do. There were things that I couldn't, I looked for tasks that I had to do with the child and connected them to tasks that I wanted to do for myself. And I just linked them. And a few of them still are linked even now. This is 20 years later because of how I linked them then. Because that was the only way, I couldn't see any way around it. So I said that to say this, that even within the marriage, so okay, that was with a new child. I find that I have to, so like the way we had the evening, I had to link like, okay, how can I create space? I do this with, in fact, I think this is a great tip. This is a great tip, guys. I do it with exercise as well. When I was struggling to get in any exercise, I was like, I need to make the exercise work inside the life that I have. So what I did was I put a skipping rope in the car. And when I was waiting for school run, I would skip. It's almost like finding spaces in my life to put in the things that I want to have. So this is my life. It's busy. There are things that I have to do just because of the stage I am at this point in time. So I'm like, okay, so this is my real life. I have to do school run. I have to this, that, and that's okay. When I do school run, I have to get there, 20 minutes early so I find parking. So I have 20 minutes when I have nothing to do effectively, when I'm just sitting in the car. So why don't I skip? Because that's one of the things I want to do, and I have nowhere else in my life to fit it in. So it's little things like that, just finding where you can fit things in. So that thing that we were doing in the evening where Wally would come and we would just hang out from 10 p.m. was fitting our marriage into my life, if that makes sense, because at that point in time my life was so busy. And I think sometimes, depending on the stage you're at, you have to do that. Now at that stage, that's where we were in our life, where my life was just that busy and we had to find, but I do that with all things. So when I find that my life is in this, I just find where I can fit the things that are important to me. I find where I can fit them into my life. So I look at my life and I think, oh, I have a slot there and I have a slot there and I'm going to make this work. So actually I wasn't fitting our marriage into my life. I was fitting time together into my life.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Sorry,
I think the way you rephrase that, I was a bit confused now.
Okay, so let me just take that again. So basically, what I was doing is I was fitting time together with my husband into my life, which at that point in time was extremely busy. So it was a question of laying out my life. This is what it is. This is where I have spaces. Okay, come and meet me here. Let's hang out at this point. Let's hang out at that point. And I think, like I said, it's, you look at the phase you're at and you find out how you can make it work, but you have to be intentional.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, apart from these things you're talking about, we're talking about communication as well. I know, especially when I'm away, I call as much as possible, so first thing in the morning, we speak till last thing at night. No, it's not like we stay on the phone. Sorry, not like that. Sorry, I beg your pardon. We'd call. We might speak to each other 2, 3, 4 times in a day. At times things are very busy. Then if things are that busy, no matter what happens, we will speak at least once a day. Well, maybe even twice.
But the thing is, even beyond the speaking, we will be communicating.
Yeah, so apart from I'm talking about, apart from sorry, I was texting. Apart from the texting and so on, WhatsApps and all that sort of stuff, we continue to communicate one way or the other. So communication is key as well. And not just regular communication. I'm not going to. You're not always going to be saying "I love you," by text and all that. But quite regularly, you're going to remind. Well, that's what we do. Sorry. So yeah, sorry, I can't speak for anybody. Quite regularly, I will remind her, or she will remind me. Not because we're lost in a relationship, but just as a. I think it becomes habit after a while, doesn't it?
I don't know what you're saying. To say I love you. Is that what you're saying?
Or to communicate that, not necessarily in those particular terms, but to communicate that message. And I care for you, or and all those things that we were talking about the other day. Communicating those things regularly, I think, are also key. Essentially, there's no space for complacency. That's what Don't give complacency space.
Don't take anything for granted. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Don't take anything for granted because it's too risky to do so. So you have to constantly be like, okay.
But no, essentially, that part of your life, as in other parts as well, but it's like, so consider a flower or a plant that needs to be watered. If you don't water it, prune it, what are all those things that you do with plants? You've got to do these things for it to blossom and be at its best. So you need to continue to do those things. That's the work you put in. Even if it's not convenient, you make it convenient, which is what she's talking about making the time, especially in her busy periods, still carving out time, making it so that we're doing these things.
So I guess it's that thing. Relationships are living things and they need to be nurtured if they're going to grow, if they're going to blossom, if they're going to become the beautiful thing that they can be. I guess that's what it is. And so it's a question of working out what is needed to nurture your particular relationship.
That's right.
So while, and this is part of what we were talking about last week, while some people might need to hear, I love you every 10 minutes, you need to find out if that's what is needed in your relationship. If it isn't, then you give what is needed. In your relationship, it might just be a hug every, time you pass each other. I don't know, whatever it is. Every relationship is unique, it's different. And you have to work on it based on your own personal relationship. So we can't say to you, oh, well, this is what we do, this is what you should do. No, this is what we do because it works for us.
Right.
How did we find out that it worked for us? Probably by trial and error. And I think even sometimes, not so much now, but even like at the beginning, it was like, do we have to? You know what I mean? But we've worked out that we do have to, because life will take over your life if you don't put things in. That's just life. Life takes over and things happen. So if you're not intentionally carving out space for the things that you want to happen, they probably won't happen.
Yeah.
I don't even know if we answered the question, but hey, hopefully
somebody will glean something, at least a little thing from
hopefully you get something,
all our ramblings.
Something from there. All right, so that's it. We'll see you next time.
Ciao.
Aren't you going to say, and bye from me?
Funny enough, I was going to say sayonara, but I just thought I'd go with ciao today. But so ciao, sayonara, and bye from me. How about that?
Can you look excited to be here, please?
Wow.
I'm going to show that.